Tom, great to see you as always. You had the latest fan advisory board meeting on Tuesday night. How did the meeting go?
Yeah, it was great. It was a nice opportunity to catch up with some familiar faces. Obviously, we're all sort of taking a little break away from football, but I think with the fixtures coming out next week, that was an early topic of conversation. But yeah, great representation again from a variety of travel clubs, online forums. Different opinions about the club, different kind of generations, and kind of there to talk about what we can do to support the fan experience here at the Cobblers.
What topics did you cover on Tuesday night?
So we'd asked all of the groups beforehand just to go out to their members, kind of the people that travel on the buses, etc., to say what did they want to discuss. And I'd seen a few themes come up beforehand, primarily around obviously the Brian Lomax fan zone, which I think is a topic of conversation. And as part of that, also the Fan Stones project were two of the key sort of issues that I knew about beforehand. So I think those were the kind of first two areas that we really looked at.
Let's talk about Fanstones first of all. Sales have been really good and we're approaching the first number required for the first batch of installation.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think we've seen kind of a few comments on various social media and people asking me in person as well, when does that first batch go in? And as you mentioned, I think we're currently sitting around the 610 stones figure that we've sold, and actually the first panel that will go in outside the front of the West Stand is looking, I think the figure's 700, give or take a couple. So what we're really looking for now is that last push to get those stones in. Obviously, I purchased my stone a little while ago. I know fans are eager to see them in. But once we've got that first panel sold, we can then really get them in. And I think, again, what I'd encourage people to do, which sometimes the message gets lost, is, if you can encourage friends, family, supporters to purchase one of those stones, not only will you get your name in stone here at Sixfields, but actually the funding of that is going towards projects like the Fan Zone and also to the academy here at the Cobblers. So the funds are going back into the club. So it's a way of not only kind of promoting yourself, but also supporting the club at the same time.
It's one of those situations, isn't it? We've seen Fanstones at other clubs now look fantastic, and I'm sure once fans see them, everyone will then want to buy one, but it's just giving it the final push to get to that 700 for the first installation.
Yeah, and I think, one of the topics that was raised last night, there were some people that brought them when they first come out, that, there is maybe some frustration that they've not gone in yet, but actually to get that first batch in, to get your name involved with that first batch. And like you say, I think once people see them, they'll really kind of appreciate what they are, and then the sales will pick up for the second batch and forward. And the more and more we sell, the more and more funding that goes towards supporter-led projects here at the Cobblers. So I think that's another reason to get involved. And, me just on a personal level, I can't wait to see my name out the front of that West Stand very, very soon. And, the company have assured us that once we do hit that sales target of 700, that actually the installation, the turnaround is quick. So the quicker we can sell those stones, the quicker we can get that first panel installed.
Let's talk about another fan project then, the Brian Lomax fan zone. What's the latest with that?
So we'd had conversations at the last fan advisory board meeting. They've carried on throughout the end of the last season as well. And the kind of thoughts were that, first of all, we want this fan zone to be befitting of Brian's name. An influential figure across football supporters associations, and actually looking at how we can make that fan zone, befitting to his name. And one of the first areas that people identified was we've naturally got an area outside Cars Bar where at the moment fans do gather on a match day. We've got our DJ, lots of great tunes, but actually we can improve the facilities there. We've already got Cobblers collectibles, but kind of one of the first focuses was about how we can maybe install some cover on the outside area there. So it's great in August when the weather's nice, but not so much in November. So we'd sort of discussed at the last meeting that a covering for that area outside Cars Bar was a priority, alongside with an additional bar, maybe some permanent covering for the DJ as well. So what we actually did in between meetings was James has gone away and got quotes. I think the first thing, it came as a huge surprise to me, was the costing associated with these. And we've mentioned that actually the funding from the Fan Stones is going to go into these projects. But the costings, what we think we've come to is, and last night we wanted to get agreed really by the representatives, was that covering is what we're going to look to do alongside a container bar outside of Cars Bar as well. And last night we were able to invite along Jason as well to talk about, from a kind of catering perspective, what that means, and actually the fact that the outside bar will have a full choice of drinks and all of the facilities that go with it. So actually that covering the outside bar, the furniture that we want to get, again, to make people feel comfortable in that area, TVs to enjoy, matches before our games are on and maybe even afterwards as well, and really look at building the whole match day experience here at the Cobblers that people might experience, arrive a couple of hours earlier and stay a couple of hours later. So last night what we were really looking for was the feedback from the groups to check that is what we wanted and we were right, and last night we received that. So I think now, we're looking over to James to get the wheels moving on that really, really quickly, because we do want the first sort of phase of this in place for the start of the season, and that's what we said we would be looking to do. But I think as a supporter, we always want everything ready straight away. And for me, the fan zone, the fan village, the fan experience is developing all the time here at Sixfields. We're lucky, other grounds, we've got a pitch behind the stand where young supporters can enjoy. That's going to eventually form part of an entire fans village that's almost the whole way around the stadium. But for this first phase, it really was about focusing the outside area around Cars Bar and then looking at the kind of touches, because yes, we can have facilities, but I've been approached by other fans that they want different features in there as well. Sometimes the things that necessarily don't cost money, a meet-up point for ground hoppers, an opportunity for supporters gathering who are maybe attending games on their own, a meet-up point. So I'd encourage any fans with ideas of things they'd like to do to get in touch, because the better we can make it. This is fan-led, it's for us and by us.
Let's just switch to the other side of the ground now. The LCS stand open towards the end of the season, of course, and fantastic feedback. It's everyone that's been over there and enjoyed the facilities said how good they are. Just some talks about how to maybe brighten up the fans' concourse there.
Yeah, so, we've got the shop, we've got the food outlets, there's going to be different catering outlets in there as well, which I think are going to be popular with the supporters. But some of the feedback was around how we brighten that up. And I think, yes, it applies over in the LCS stand, but also around the stadium. We'd love to hear ideas from supporters. Last night, one of the ideas was around, maybe an area focused around the 60s, which was a magical era for the Cobblers. We had some donations of potential programmes, maybe shirts. Maybe local schools or community groups want to get involved to actually decorate those areas in a way which does brighten up and kind of enhance that experience. So I think, we're at the initial idea stage there, but I would again encourage people to either communicate with me directly or the supporter groups. I read the online forums, the social media pages, and it's always a good opportunity, because I think when we talk about the wider fan zone, the stands, we've got to remember everyone at Sixfields has a different want from their day out here and a different experience. So the more that ideas we can get, the more we can help meet those needs, hopefully.
Something else, Tom, that I know you talked about, and that the FAB are leading on the naming of the boxes after some club legends.
Yeah, so I think, again, it was when we first asked the groups to go out and get the opinions, we had hundreds of different names and different reasons, and I think we've all got our favourite memory either here at Sixfields or the county ground, and a player that means something. And what we've done through feedback and consulting, with lots and lots of different people, is to narrow that down to a group of players who we're now in the kind of process of contacting to make sure they're okay with it. But also what we want to do across the season is invite them along to the opening of their particular box, so we can really, really highlight their achievements for the club and what they did here, and show our appreciation, because we talk a lot about the future, but we've got a really proud history as well. So that's something which, again, the fans have had a say. I'm sure it will cause debate when the lists are eventually released, but I think we've got a great representation from across the history of the club.
And just finally, Tom, as we always end these chats, these conversations, if a fan wants to get in touch with you, what's the best way?
So I think for me directly, you're always welcome to email me, which is clifftom@hotmail.com. I'd encourage people, on the social media groups and the platforms, the supporters, coaches, obviously the fixtures are out soon, we'll be back travelling to games, speak to members of them, and they can feedback to us. And any feedback that we get, you see me on a match day, the pre-season games, come and say hello. And that was a view echoed last night. We had Jason and James join us, and they both echoed that point of, come up, give us ideas, because we always want to try and improve everything we can here at Sixfields.